All right, today we have Scott, Dan,
Hello.
and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Libby Schaefer. I'm chair of Wave Foundation
And you've been with the Wave Foundation
for
for,
8 years.
and you started the outreach program?
Yes, along with Dan.
Right. But,
Really, Dan.
yeah, but you were the board chair of education and authority for starting the whole thing with Dan.
Absolutely, it was Dan's vision, and then I fought with members of the board to make sure that we focused on this and really made this a reality, and it's grown ever since.
Okay, so at the Naughty Night, for those that didn't attend, you threw out some numbers about the before Elsa's involvement and now in terms of your outreach. Could you
Sure.
do that real quick?
Absolutely. So before the investment from the Elsa Sewell Foundation in our first outreach vehicle, we reached about 7,000 community members, and we were not on the radar in our institution and AZA. Now, with your investment, we've leveraged that to inspire 77,000 students annually, and we've leveraged that infrastructure to get over $400,000 in grants to support those initiatives with our outreach program.
So tell us how the addition of a hybrid car would affect your outreach programs.
So what we're looking at is we're looking at a shortage of vehicles right now. So there are many times throughout the month that we are double booked and we have to just decline outreach programs. So right now we have a list going of third outreaches that we can't even complete because our 2 vans are already booked for that day. So right now, what's it, October 21st, I believe, we're booking programs for 2018 right now. So that's how far out we're booked for the rest of this year. So having another vehicle, especially a hybrid, which works perfect with Wave Foundation's mission, is going to give us that opportunity to have another vehicle. So now we can have 3 crews leaving the building at any given moment, at any given day, which is going to further our mission and further impact the number of community members that we can inspire about conservation education.
Is there a financial angle to it?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we crunched the numbers. We did a time audit on Dan's time and on our accountant's time, and we're going to be saving with registration and the hybrid vehicle, we're going to be saving 600 hours annually from both of their overhead costs. And more importantly, about 50% of our outreaches do not require a van. Therefore, the van gets 26 miles per gallon. With the hybrid vehicle, it'll be 56 miles per gallon, saving us about $7,000 annually in overhead costs and reducing or increasing our number of people impacted to over 100,000 community members annually.
All right, so about 50% of the time, you don't have a shark or ray requested. So therefore you
our
don't.
number one outreach program right now, which has been for the last 4 years, has been our penguin outreach program. So instead of loading up a penguin and the supplies into a van where 80% of the van's not being used, we could put that penguin and those supplies in a hybrid vehicle and save our vans for our large carts, which we need every single square foot of that van when we are moving sharks and stingrays in our freshwater cart, the sturgeon.
Okay, I think you were referring to the cost savings with Dan's time in the registration
Yes.
and the scheduling, your software request. So try to keep those two separate. One's the car. Talk about the software for the registration process.
Absolutely. So we contacted our colleagues and see how they do registration, because we've been in the Stone Age with our registration right now. Requires a lot of work on the front end and on the back end to register a program. And what we found was best practices in our institutions is to use electronic software where there can be live, up-to-date scheduling of outreach programs, and more importantly, collection of money. So we don't spend any time on the back end calling people, sending invoices, and following up on payments, because right now we invoice, then they send a check. If they send a check, if they don't, then we're on the phone trying to track down that money, which is a drift of our mission, and it makes us really inefficient for a foundation of 6 full-time employees.
And Dan, we were talking about retention of outreach customers.
Yes.
So if you go to a school today, you were talking about how do you get them do they want to be scheduled for next year, or can you schedule them for next year in the process? And how would that change with the new software?
Yeah, so right now it's very paperwork heavy. It's very time labor inside the office to be able to book outreach programs. So from the initial phone call to the email to selling to marketing to advertising that program and then getting that registration form sent to me, then we're looking at multiple different areas that I've got to focus time on, fill out certain forms, get it entered into our computer system, Excel spreadsheet, get that sent over to Julie for the invoice, make the copies there. We're looking at just streamlining all this so it won't take so much time, effort, energy into booking a single outreach program. And knowing that our retention rate is in the 90 percentile range of having schools, libraries, senior centers, daycares rebook us, it's going to be ever more important for us to be able to streamline this process so my job isn't stuck in the office 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So if you were at my school today and I wanted to rebook, what would you tell me?
You would have to contact me, either call me or send me an email so we could start the process of rebooking another program.
And if you had this software, how quickly could I rebook?
On your cell phone. You could pull the cell phone out, look at the calendar, and see where and when the availability and the dates are that they could book. Right now, I can't do any of that face-to-face without the access of my laptop, which has all the forms, the calendar, everything on that laptop. Even my phone can't get access like my laptop has. So I can't check everything on my phone. It's got to be through the laptop.
All right, any questions, Jerry, on the finances of the car?
Yep, I think we're good.
Anybody?
One more question for Scott. Could you maybe explain the relationship that you have with the aquarium and the in-kind services? that they
And why aren't they paying for all of this?
Absolutely. Well, they have shareholders that they need and are beholden to, and we are not beholden to them. We're beholden to our board of directors, and they govern our institution, and their fiduciary responsibilities are solely for the Wave Foundation. They have no responsibility for the Newport Aquarium. We are two completely separate institutions. However, we have found a virtuous relationship together in that we don't have as many overhead costs, and we avoid a lot of mission drift by having the Newport Aquarium, a for-profit organization that takes care of all of our brick and mortar needs. We don't have to pay any plumbers to come out, any electricians to come out. We don't have to waste thought or money or time on those sort of inherent needs of most other nonprofits, which allow us to focus on our mission and drive our mission. And it also equates to every dollar invested in Wave Foundation goes directly to that mission. It's not going to offset 50 cents is going to go fix a cable that's broken or an upgrade of a TV. In addition to their ability to supply us with health care at a much reduced premium, because NAQ, Newport Aquarium, employs so many employees. If we were to try to do that on our own, our premiums would be through the roof. And again, we would be spending time and money and effort on pricing out different healthcare organizations, and we'd be going through that, whereas we don't have to worry about any of that. We can focus all of our effort and energy to driving our mission and impacting our community.
How about the animals?
The animals is a huge offset. They provide all the animal care expertise, husbandry, and homes and habitats for the animals. And we're essentially like grandparents to the animals. We can take them out and have fun with them and then return them to their caretakers, so we don't incur any of the cost of feeding a penguin 40 frozen fish a day. Multiply that by 8, not to mention the space that they're in and the HVAC requirements and HEPA filters that's required to keep those animals. Newport Aquarium takes on all those costs, and we're able to use them as animal ambassadors and educational resources for community members that can't afford a ticket to get into the Newport Aquarium.
And do you have any analogy on that for people to maybe understand the relationship a little bit better?
Absolutely. So to a group of philanthropists, the best analogy that I've found in Cincinnati and working with Tim Maloney is the Hale Foundation and their relationship with the U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank is a for-profit institution. Hale Foundation is an independent family foundation governed by a separate body, but they use space in U.S. Bank, and then they also get their benefits and health care through U.S. Bank. which allows the Hale Foundation to take their large endowment and focus it on creating community change in the greater Cincinnati area.
With the addition of the hybrid car, you're now at about 77,000 people impacted a year. What will the car increase the impact in the community?
Absolutely. So our estimates are we're going to go from 77,000 people impacted through our outreach program, Wave on Wheels, to over 100,000 individuals impacted, which is not only significant, we would be the largest outreach program in our region, hands down, and given our past working with El Sassoul Foundation, we've leveraged every single one of your infrastructural investments on the order of, for every $1, we receive $6 from our social enterprise, in addition to other grant funds used to support and grow the outreach program.
Is there another zoo or aquarium in Kentucky?
Yes, the Louisville Zoo.
And what's your relationship with them, if any?
We just started a relationship with them within the past year that we are trying to partner with them to do some really neat conservation education programs, to where they don't have a very big or large outreach program, and they realize after seeing ours in action that our outreach program needs to be down in their area. So we're working with them on a combined education program where they can have underserved populations come to the zoo for one day, and then they would have a community outreach scholarship fund down in Louisville that will pay for Wave to come down and bring our animals into their classrooms the next day.
Do they have an outreach program there?
They do have an outreach program there, and their most popular animal that they bring out into the community is a possum. And that, to me, doesn't even compare to the penguins, the sharks, the stingrays that we get to bring out. So again, our outreach program is grown so much in the past couple of years since that meeting with El Sassoul on November 22nd, 2014, and it's going to continue to grow. And just as a side note, I don't know if you guys get asked a lot to purchase vehicles for nonprofits. I know this is the third time we're asking ELSA, but our proven track record of what we've done with these 2 vehicles that you've already donated to Wave has been absolutely incredible. And this third one is not going to be sitting there collecting dust either. This third one's going to be on the road just as much as those first 2 vans are.
Okay, well, thanks for coming
And
in.
thank you guys for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.